Hello and welcome. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator, and these are 5 tips I use on a regular basis on the real aircraft. I thought I would share them with you, and who knows, maybe you find them useful and helpful when you fly the Phoenix A320 here in the sim. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So you are parked at the gate and you would like to know what time you're actually gonna arrive at your destination. In the real world, this could play out as like a delay. Maybe ATC gives you a new departure time, you make an announcement to the passengers that there's gonna be a delay, and of course the cabin crew will come in and inform you that we have passengers with connecting flights and they would like to know when we will be arriving at our destination. So when do we arrive at our destination? If you go to the flight plan page, you can see here it's set to 0 because we haven't departed yet. So there's actually a fairly nifty trick to find that out. So let's have a look. It is now 6:16. So let's say we are planning to take off at 7:30. So what you do is you click next to this here, then click on RTA, and this brings you to this page here. RTA is actually a very handy page, but I'm not going to go into all of this now. All we're interested in is ETT, estimated takeoff time, and we're going to put in 0730. And now if you go to flight plan, you will have all the times you need, including the arrival time. So we will arrive in Munich at 8:13. Now just a note, if you leave this like this, it doesn't really matter. Once you take off, the aircraft automatically resets this to the actual takeoff time. But if you take longer than expected, let's say you're taxiing to the runway and it goes to 0731, you're gonna get a message here saying that the calculated takeoff time has been elapsed. Again, no big problem. The aircraft will reset it, but if you don't want it, just go back, RTA, clear, and clear the time, and then you have everything back to normal. Okay, another tip that's probably not that important but maybe useful once in a while is this. On the ND, if you set your distance up here to 160, once in the cruise, and if you don't have any crazy winds, each of these arcs represents 5 minutes. So if you want to quickly know when is the top of descent, so in this case, if we would be in a cruise now, this would be 5, 10, maybe 12, 13 minutes to top of descent. It's not accurate, but it works surprisingly well. I use it a lot in the real aircraft, especially for top of descent, to figure out how much time I have until we need to go down, if I can quickly go to the toilet or do other things as well. So maybe something that's quite useful. Okay, so we are flying along, and for whatever reason there's a certain time point that you would like to have a reminder for. Maybe it's when you need to switch on the seatbelt signs. Maybe you agree with the cabin crew it's gonna be 15 minutes before landing, or there's just something, since you fly a simulator, maybe you need to do a phone call or whatever it is. So you can actually use the Airbus to remind you. All you need to do is go onto the flight plan page. So let's have a look. It is now 06, almost 6:40. Let's say we want to have a reminder in 5 minutes. All you need to do is put in the time, and you can click anywhere you want. The Airbus will put this in the right order, and now you have a reminder here and also here on the ND 0645. This can be quite useful. I use it mostly for the seatbelt signs or for other things that I agree on with the cabin crew when certain things should be happening. Okay, once you're in the cruise, you usually have to do a cruise briefing. We always do this, especially if we fly over high terrain, and we discuss things like, you know, if we have a decompression, how low can we actually go? Do we turn left? Do we turn right? Etc. etc. Just to have an awareness about the terrain underneath us. Now at the moment the aircraft is telling us that we are flying at 25,000 feet. However, this is not fully accurate because after all this is a pressure altitude. So what you can do is you go to data, GPS monitor, and this is actually a more accurate altitude. So this is measured by the GPS and therefore will tell you more accurately your actual altitude. So what this is saying is we are currently flying at 25,000, about 140 feet. This is saying 25,000. This means this is showing that we are lower than we actually are. So in this case I would say this is safe because we are actually a bit higher than what this reads. So if in the winter time this is lower, you might want to be careful, because especially if there's a big discrepancy like 500 feet, that could be a big difference. So I usually take a quick look at this once we're in the cruise, just to compare the two, and I usually also include it in my briefing during the cruise. And finally, something you probably have heard before. Now we've actually discussed landing lights already in another video of mine, where we discussed all the lights on the A320 and how to use them correctly. So you probably remember that the landing lights actually fold out on the A320. And this has a slight effect on your descent performance. So if you need to go down quickly, you can actually switch on the landing lights a little bit earlier, and this will give you an extra 100 feet per minute. It's not a lot, but who knows, maybe it helps. So this is also why we refer to the landing lights quite often as photon brakes. So if I can see my colleague is struggling a bit in getting rid of altitude, I usually say, come on, I'll help you a bit. I'll switch the landing lights on and say photon brakes on, and everybody knows what we mean. So yes, an extra 100 feet per minute descent rate for the landing lights. Okay, and that brings us already to the end of this video. I hope there were a few things that were new to you, maybe something you've learned today. That would be really nice. And yeah, hopefully it was useful. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, all the best. Bye bye.